So welcome to this virtual workshop. Again, unfortunately, this is a virtual workshop because of the pandemic situation that made impossible to organize a face-to-face meeting this time again. We still hope that it will be possible in the future. Anyway, we thought it was important to discuss the work in progress and the topic not addressed in May that was dedicated on one particular topic. And in fact, we had the experience since our May workshop that was one of the first one in the community. We had many successful virtual workshops since then. So I think that building on their experience, we can have a very productive one this time again. So like the previous workshop, this is a WLCG HSF workshop, but this time you will see that there is no common session. This is just that I think that on both sides, there was the need for in-depth discussion of the topics and the time being quite limited in the virtual workshop. We thought it was better not to try to have a common session this time, but it's clearly not a strategic move away from the common workshops, and it's more an exception for this particular time. The registration have been very healthy. We'll see how many people already connect, but I think every time I looked at it in the last days, it was just increasing. At noon here in Central Europe, it was more than 400 registered people, and let's say half of them, a little bit more than half of them for the HSF part of the workshop. So the workshop program, as you have seen probably, it's this workshop will be run over 4 days. It will be 3 hours per day with a break in the middle, so a little bit more time than in the previous workshop. Basically, it will run from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. with some, on particular on Friday, we may close a little bit earlier, but not that much. So this is for the Central European time, which means this is the morning on the East Coast, and it is middle of the night in Asia. And we already apologize for the Asian colleagues, but it was difficult to find a solution to this. And so the first day today will be really the status of some of our R&Ds and the training activities. And in fact, the first talk will be also news from the nuclear physics community, where quite a lot of things are happening nowadays. And there was a BNL workshop with about the computing, the future of computing in nuclear physics, and we'll get a report from it. The 2 next day will be topical days. So tomorrow on Friday, it will be event generators, and on Monday, it will be detector simulations. It is organized by the relevant HSF working group, and we really want to thank them. And the last day, so on Tuesday, this will be something new compared to our previous workshop. It will be devoted to lightning talks on various R&D topics. There was an open call for abstracts, probably you are aware of it. There was a lot of participation, and we really want to thank everybody who submitting an abstract. As it is always the case when there is a good participation, there is not enough time to accept all of them, despite that, let's say they were all good. But this is not the end of the story, and in particular, we identified quite a lot of things that we could not schedule for this workshop, but will be very good contributions to the working group meetings, and they will probably be scheduled in the future meetings of these working groups. So for running our virtual workshop, basically we'll do it quite closely to the way we did it in last spring. Again, we asked the speaker to make their material available in advance so that you can read them if you had the opportunity for this, and we really want to thank the speaker for having doing it. In parallel to the workshop, there is a Google Doc document that will act as a workshop notebook. It is intended for your comments, your questions, and for discussion topics. So we already ask you during the presentation if you want to, if there is a comment or remark, just put it in the notebook, and we will read it during the discussion to ensure that the questions that could be there are asked and answered. This is a workshop, so we really want to have time for discussion. For this reason, basically, there is a kind of really a 50-50, but something closer probably to 60-40 split between translation and discussion. And I will really remind the speakers if they overrun their time, and we really ask the speaker to try to stick on the allocated time. During the discussion, as we are already more than 100 people, and we expect more, we really ask people to use the raise hand button that is in the participant list if they want to speak, and the chair will invite you to speak when this is your turn. And as much as we can, we'll also monitor the Zoom chat, but I would say if you already have comments or questions you would like to ask, prefer the workshop notebook. Note takers will record the important points from the discussion. So for this session, this is Graham, and I really thank him for accepting this. Every participant can contribute to this role, just adding to the same workshop notebook. The link is in the presentation, and is also in Indico. And as you have seen, we record the session, and we'll post the video after the workshop. In fact, you have to confirm that you agree with the recording, else you will have to leave the meeting. So towards the future, after the workshop, we really shall summarize the main points we find. We really want the outcome of the workshop to be input to the work and roadmap for the working group. We really hope to run a face-to-face meeting in the future, in the not too far future, next year. But anyway, this is probably not the last virtual event, or future event could be hybrid. Even after the COVID, we think that there are some compelling reasons to continue to have virtual events. As you can see from the plots that was in the previous slide, the registration to a virtual workshop is much higher than to a face-to-face meeting, and so it allows more people to attend, and so this is good, even if it does not have all the features of a face-to-face meeting. It has a far lower environmental impact, so probably mixing both is a good thing. And we will run a survey for the last workshop to assess that how successful was the meeting and what we could improve in the future. Just a few words to finish on HSF. So if you are new to this workshop and to HSF, just there is a slide that reminds you how you could participate to the HSF activities. One of the important things is that you register to the first mailing list mentioned, HSF forum. This is where we send updates about, let's say, activities. It's a very low volume list. And it's really the way to keep informed. After that, there is the website, which is regularly updated, and there are the working groups where you can also participate, register, suggest topics, or even suggest new working groups. Also, I want to remind you that the activity of HSF is based on the working groups, and each working group has 3 conveners with a 1-year mandate. That is renewable. Some of the working group conveners will step down at the end of this year, and I want to take this opportunity to thank them to all the work they did, and I also want to thank the one who will continue this work. For this reason, there is an open call for nominations for the working group with 1 or several conveners who are stepping down. With a deadline which is not so far from now, which is beginning of December. So you have the list of the 4 working group affected. And so as it was mentioned in an email, you should send nominations to the dedicated address, the search committee address, which is made of Liz, Graham, and myself. We are looking for motivated individuals from the community, and the self-nominations are very welcome. And just a last word, we thought it would be a good idea, despite a virtual workshop, to have a virtual group photo. So in fact, Sebastian Lopinski from CERN demonstrated in several workshops that it was doable and of a high value. So technically, it will be a screenshot of the Zoom gallery that will be processed afterwards. It will contain at the end a lot of small but recognizable pictures of the individual participants, but without the names, if you are concerned with this aspect. And at the end, it will be published on the HSF website. So if you want to be part of it, and we hope you won't, it will be very easy. Just at the end of this session, in the first minutes of the coffee break, enable your camera when Sebastian will tell it, and it will last 1 or 2 minutes just to take the screenshot. And for sure, if you prefer not to be included, it's just as simple as not switching on your camera. Okay, if there is no question, I propose that in the interest of time, we move to the first presentation.